Yo, what's up guys? So today we are gonna see, what if, Naruto time travel with Kushina, Naruto x Kushina, part 1. Hope you'll enjoy this video. So before we start, go check out the author of this fanfic, ShadowFoxEndever, link is in the description, and also subscribe to my channel, and like this video. The night quickly turned crimson red. The ocean filled with ninjas' lifeless bodies, and some were still alive. Naruto did not care though, as the ninja withered in agony before they sank to the ocean's bottom. The battle was still raging on, as reinforcements quickly joined the fray, trying to enclose him from all angles. Naruto spotted the ninja going through hand signs, but he did not care. He only stood there, and waited for their combined attack to come. He did not have to wait long, as 4 towering lightning dragons raced towards his position from all angles. Had they don't know who they are dealing with, Naruto thought, as he brought both his arms up, pointing his palms to the left and right of himself. The Kumo ninja would not expect what was to come. Naruto waited for the enormous lightning dragons to reach him. He wanted the ninja before him to know there was no way to beat him, as he brought the world crashing down around them. When the towering lightning dragons were only inches from him, he caught sight of the Kumo ninja who launched the attack at him. They all had confident grins set in place on their ugly faces. He thought they were ugly. It must have been from other battles they were in, or they were just born ugly. I will show them that they are powerless before my might. After this night is through, I will be the only one left standing, Naruto thought, as the lightning dragons crashed into him. The Kumo and Iwa ninja that surrounded his position began to cheer because they believed that they had won the fight, but they were sadly mistaken. Right before their very eyes, the 2 lightning dragons slowly disintegrated. Naruto stood on the surface of the water, unmoving from the same place he stood before the attacks had been called out. Time to finish them, if Naruto thought, pulling a katana out of his pitch black coat he wore. However, none of the ninja around him realized any of this, because right when the katana had been drawn, the first ninja had fallen. The ninja's head had been severed from the body, as it fell into the water seconds later along with the body, as they sank to great depths out of sight. He turned and faced his next victim, giving him no time to run. The Kumo ninja had tried to turn and run, but they were only met with cold purple ringed eyes, and a sword plunged into their stomachs. The life faded from their eyes, as they fell just like the rest of them. Naruto appeared in front of the last ninja. The Iwa ninja before him looked so frightened he could not help but grin at the poor fool. He decided to torture him before he sent him to the afterlife. "You pathetic, you guys attack another country blindly with no remorse. It is a pointless slaughter, so I decided to step up and save them. Luck was just not with you guys on this night, but don't worry, you will be going to a better place," Naruto told him with an even bigger grin plastered on his face, as he watched the guy quiver in fright. The Iwa ninja took a couple steps back from the man before him. Naruto did not know if, but the guys before him were more afraid of his eyes than his actual presence, because he had seen those eyes before. "You monster, what are you?" the Iwa ninja shouted. Naruto just grinned wider at the question he was asked. "Me? A monster? No, I am a god that has decided to stop the corruption in this world once and for all, starting with you," Naruto replied. The Iwa ninja tried to get away, but when he turned to run, he was met with a blade cutting right through his shoulder blade. A shower of blood rained out, as the Iwa ninja's arm fell lifelessly into the water. The arm socket continued to gush blood with no sign of it stopping in sight. Naruto watched on in cold indifference, as the guy grabbed his bloody socket. A blood-curdling scream rang out so far that Naruto knew Whirlpool Ninja had heard it. He knew he needed to finish the guy off now. Naruto stepped up to the kneeling Iwa ninja. With no kind of pain or resentment, he lifted his sword in a striking position. Before Naruto struck the man, he looked around at the once blue waters, but now glowed crimson red. The ninja that he had slain, only half of them stayed afloat. The bodies were baked in a white glow from the moon, making them look like they had been dead far longer than the minutes it took him to take all of them down. His might was unmatched, and he believed that with his strength, he would save the shinobi world from its corruption. Naruto turned back to the only surviving ninja before him, out of the 500 that had attacked to begin with. "I hope the next time I have to fight someone, they provide more of a challenge than these ninja had been," Naruto thought, as he beheaded the ninja. The head fell instantly off the body, as the body spurted out blood like a geyser, until it sank below the surface of the water. He turned around to get a good view of the Whirlpool village. He noticed the village was now illuminated by bright lights. Naruto knew Whirlpool Ninja were soon to show up in this scene of battle. The katana in his right hand had been slipped back into his black cloak. "I guess I better get out of here. If I am spotted, they may take me," as a third Naruto thought. He disappeared out of view before he appeared on the other side of the village, outside the village wall. He was on the surface of the water again, but here he noticed that the water was still a luminescent blue with no trace of red from the blood of his victims. Naruto began to hear shouts from where he once stood. He couldn't help but imagine the faces of the Whirlpool Ninja, as they spotted all the dead bodies he left in the drifting waters. "I hope they like their gift," Naruto thought, chuckling, as he entered the village of Whirlpool in a different way than everyone else. He had his own way of entering the village. He did not need the main entrance. He knew he probably would have needed to do this anyway, because Whirlpool Ninja were bound to spot the fight. Naruto touched the wall that surrounded the village for protection. The wall wasn't too high, but it was big enough to warn them if anyone were to attack them. It was their first line of defense, which he found out about while walking around the village the day before, but lucky for him, he did not need to go over the wall, because he had developed a new Rinnegan ability. He focused on the wall for a couple seconds before facing right through the wall, appearing in a dark and smelly alleyway. He had chosen that spot in the wall before the fight, so he did not appear in an open area. Maybe I should have picked another area that did not smell as bad, Naruto thought, grumbling to himself. The alleyway smelled like rotten food and dead animals, which was mostly true because, as he walked, he spotted a couple dead cats that probably died from the rotten food. He quickly left the place behind, not wanting to pass out. He headed towards a hotel that he had found when he was searching for supplies. The hotel looked small, but on the inside the place looked like it was made for royalty. He silently snuck through the village, making sure no ninja patrols caught him in the village. I know most of the patrol ninjas are probably studying the dead bodies I left by now, but I can't be too careful, Naruto thought. He opened the hotel's small door, but before he walked in he looked back at the village streets. He smiled, knowing that if he did not stop that attack, this village would not be standing anymore. Instead, it would have been burning to the ground about now. I'm glad I stopped a pointless massacre from happening. It doesn't even matter that I won't be getting recognition for it, Naruto thought. He shut the door behind him as he walked to the front counter to get a room for the night. Little did he know he would get the recognition he deserved, but not yet. Naruto approached the counter, not worried in the slightest about being found out that he was the one who killed all those people out there, because there were no blood stains anywhere on him. He did not want to get any of their dirty, disgusting blood on his newly bought cloak, even though it was black, but he did worry about his eyes because they stuck out like a sore thumb, but on the outside he remained calm. "Would you like a room, sir?" the receptionist asked him with no sign of fear present on her face. Her thoughts though were another story. They weren't bad thoughts. She actually found his eyes very intimidating and exotic, but she did not want to tell him that because then it might make her look weird. Naruto noticed a slight blush appear on her face. He knew why she was blushing, but he did not care at the moment. All he wanted was a room to relax in, and maybe ask her to join him as well. "Yes, I would like the best room in the hotel," Naruto asked. He pulled out money from his pocket, placing it atop the counter. The receptionist nodded before grabbing the key off the clip and giving it to him. Naruto began to walk away once he was handed the key, but he decided he wanted some company in his room. He stopped mid-walk, turning his head slightly back to get another glimpse of the receptionist. Naruto noticed the blush on her face had grown darker in color. "I would like some company in my room for the night, so would you like to join me?" Naruto asked. The receptionist could not believe her ears. A hot guy was asking her to come to his room, which had never happened to her before. The blush on her face only got redder by the second, until she got the courage to push it down. She decided to go with him because she was a virgin woman of 20, not a little girl. So she decided to take his offer and give him her virginity. "Sure, I would love to," the name Zurayura said, swaying her hips as she walked around the counter. Naruto smirked seeing the sway in her hips. Yura wrapped her right arm around his arm, leading him down the hall. They stopped in front of a room. Naruto stepped up to the door, pulling out the key. He unlocked the door as he and Yura stepped into the room. The door closed behind them as they entered. Naruto and Yura walked into the bedroom after they ate dinner, discussing a few things, as well as having a good laugh. Naruto pulled off his cloak, throwing it against the wall. Yura stood there knowing what they were about to do, but that was why she came here. They both were stressed out. They found this out when they were talking in the kitchen. Naruto turned to her, only wearing a tight black muscle shirt and a pair of black baggy-style pants. Everything else, like his weapons and cloak, had been taken off. He looked around the room as well, looking at how magnificent it was with a king-size bed, a large kitchen, and bathroom, but Naruto only looked at those things for a short time before his eyes zoned in on Yura. He tried to look away, but his mind would not let him. "I needed this. I have been so stressed out," Naruto thought, as he cuddled with Yura, both completely exhausted from their playtime. "Too bad I am leaving tomorrow. I hope she won't be mad at me because I don't love her," Naruto thought. He looked down at her sleeping form in his arms. He drifted off to sleep a moment later, missing Yura's eyes. Yura lifted her head as she placed it into the crook of his neck before falling back asleep herself. The next morning, Naruto had woken up at the break of dawn. The sun could barely be seen outside. It was the perfect time to make his way out of Whirlpool. His goal was to become a Jounin sensei of Kushina Uzumaki, but he still did not figure out how he was going to be able to do this. He had many theories on what he was going to do, but he had to pick one before he made it to Konoha. Naruto slid out of the embrace from one Yura who still slept soundly, as he made his way out of the bed silently, so he would not disturb her sleeping form. "I'm sorry, Yura, but looks like this is goodbye," Naruto thought. He took one last look at Yura before he grabbed his things, putting on his coat and sword. He walked to the door, opening it quietly to not alert Yura that he was leaving. He felt bad not telling her goodbye, but knew he could not risk it. Naruto went out the door, but before he had shut the door, around 5 whirlpool ninjas came into the hotel down the hall. Shit, why are they here? Naruto thought, cursing up a storm. He walked back into his hotel room, shutting it behind him. Naruto leaned his head against the door to see if he could hear any of what the ninja were saying. The room he stood in was pitch black, but to him he could see everything in the room. Search every room. We got word that a suspicious person was seen entering this hotel, a random ninja said. Naruto knew that the person giving the commands must be the leader of the apparent patrol group. I guess someone did see me enter the village. I have to get out of here a different way now, Naruto thought, grumbling. He just woke up, and now he had to try to get away from a patrol of ninja, because he did not want to kill them. They did no wrong. Realizing he had no choice because a knocker sounded on the door, Naruto turned quickly, walking back into the bedroom. Seeing that Yura was still asleep, he walked over to the right wall to make his silent escape. Just as the door to the room was kicked in, he phased through the wall, appearing in the street outside. He heard the ninja in the room from where he now stood. They could not find him, so they woke up Yura to question her. They got nothing out of her though, as she said that no one had been in the room with her. Thanks Yura, I will make sure to pay you back sometime, but make sure you find someone to love, Naruto thought. He began walking down the street away from the hotel. There were no civilians up yet, which explained why the streets were so bare. His train of thought was cut off, as 6 ninja appeared around him in a circle, not letting him escape. What do you guys want? Naruto asked lazily. He pretended to yawn, acting like he had just woken up to try and fool them, but he got a good look at their faces, noticing that it was not working. They were all poised to attack, but none of them were, which he did not know why, because usually if you find someone suspicious in your village, you either attack them or take them in. He got his answer soon enough, as one of the ninja from the group stepped forward. We want to know why you are in our village when the guards at the gate had no mention of you entering at all, the patrol leader asked. This wasn't the same leader from the hotel. No, this guy looked a whole lot stronger than the one from the hotel, but he was not frightened because he could defend himself if need be. I was in your village to get a good night's sleep, isn't it pretty obvious? Naruto replied cockily, hoping for a rise out of the man, but all he noticed was a tick mark had appeared on the man's forehead, making him chuckle a bit. You still did not answer the question. How did you get in our village undetected? If you don't tell us, we are taking you in to be interrogated, the leader growled out. Naruto looked at the guy, seeing that his anger could not be held back any longer. Fine, I snuck in by passing right through your village walls, leaving everything intact. I won't tell you how I did this since it is my little secret, and you won't get it out of me, because if you try and take me to be interrogated, I will kill you guys where you stand, Naruto told them, releasing killer intent to make his point across. The ninja around him had stiffened from the amount of killer intent released. I only came to help out, but if you treat me as an enemy, I will treat you as one, Naruto said. He looked right into the leader's eyes with his own purple ringed ones. He was messing around, but they did not need to know this because needless death should be avoided. The leader's eyes widened, thinking he now knew why the guy in front of him was in the village in the first place, but what he had in mind was crazy. There absolutely would be no way for one man to take down an army of ninja. Naruto looked passive, as the leader stood stock still until he began to move seconds later, after deciding to ask the question he had on his mind. Are you the one that destroyed those Iwa and Kumo ninja outside the village? Because from our search of the bodies, we found that those 2 village ninjas were the only ones there. Which meant that either one guy took them down or they attack each other, the leader said, looking into the purple-eyed guy in front of him. I don't know, maybe I did, maybe I didn't, but what would I get if I gave this information to you? Naruto said. He stood defiantly even though surrounded by whirlpool ninja. He did not want them to know, but if he could leave here peacefully without having to hurt anyone, then he would tell them. All the ninjas stiffened, but the leader did not flinch. He just grinned, thinking the guy was crazy to talk to him while surrounded from all sides. The leader knew though not to attack because the guy in front of him might actually be confident for a reason. If you were the one to actually have annihilated their troops, then you shall not be hailed as a criminal, but you will be asked to come with us to explain to him what had transpired, the leader of the patrol said. Naruto thought over what he should do for a couple seconds. For one, he could just bust out and leave, but then people all over will think he was a criminal. For 2, he could just tell them the truth, so he could make a request to be Kushina's Jounin sensei in Konoha, without having to go through the troubles of Konoha by himself. I did kill them. The reason I killed them was to save you guys from an apparent destruction of your village. I did not want to tell anyone about it though, Naruto said, sighing. The group of ninja around him could not believe it that these guys annihilated a huge portion of Iwa and Kumo's ninjas so quickly. Okay, then you're coming with us to explain the battle to, the leader said, as he pulled chakra cuffs out to make sure he did not try anything funny. Naruto looked at them disgusted, as the leader walked closer. You put those on me, I will kill you, Naruto said. He looked straight into the man's eyes to make sure he got his point across to the man. Naruto was chuckling not on the outside, but on the inside because he liked messing with them. It might even become a new pastime when he returned to the village. The leader of the whirlpool ninja around him slipped the cuffs away quickly from the chakra spike he felt. When the cuffs were away, the chakra spike vanished. I wouldn't make you wear them, but we all will be staying close till we find out if you're telling the truth, the patrol leader said, as he led Naruto down the street. They approached the Yuzukige's tower, which stood in the center of the peaceful village. It stood out compared to the other buildings around it, not because of the color, but for the size of it. It was about 3 times the size of the other buildings lengthwise, but the height was only a little taller. The building was blue with an Uzumaki swirl in the center of the building's structure. Wow, nice tower you got here, but I thought the towers for the leaders of each village were smaller than this, as Naruto asked. They entered the tower, closing the outer door behind them. Naruto noticed 2 long hallways to the left and to the right of where he was standing, but in the center across from them against the far wall was a door which had Yuzukage emblazoned on the door. It is because not only the Yuzukage live here, but so do the main Uzumaki family, the patrol leader explained. Naruto knew he was right because down the hallways he spotted multiple doors and big rooms at the far end of the hallways, which he guessed were a gathering place to hang out. He was not here though to see the Uzumaki family yet, but he would later. Right now they were going to speak with the Yuzukage. The patrol leader led him into the Yuzukage's office, which looked just as grand as the rest of the place had. The Yuzukage sat amused as Naruto looked around the office, paying no mind to him. Why did you bring this guy here? Genji, the Yuzukage asked. His sight was still on the black-haired guy in his room. The Yuzukage's eyes widened, noticing the Rinnegan. We brought him here because we believe he might be the one who killed those ninjas outside Whirlpool, Genji replied. The Yuzukage motioned them out, wanting to talk to the guy alone. Genji and his unit did not want to leave, as they protested, but the Yuzukage wanted them to go, so they had left a bit pissed, but they would listen. Please have a seat if you would, the Yuzukage asked politely. Naruto nodded, taking a seat in front of his desk. Naruto told his name before they discussed the extreme battle that took place just outside Whirlpool. They also discussed Naruto's Rinnegan. This issue surprised him when they brought it up, but answered his questions nonetheless. That is how the battle went, nothing was left out, Naruto said. They nodded in contemplation, wondering what he should do now before an idea came to mind. Since you saved Whirlpool from destruction, anything you need just come and ask me. I will be happy to help you out, they said. Naruto grinned at how generous he was even though he did save them after all. He had 2 things in mind, but he did not know if they would accept them or not. I have 2 favors right now if you would hear me out, Naruto asked slowly. Sure, what is it that you want? The only thing I can't really give you is the village or the seat of being, they replied. He nodded because he already knew that. It would be a little too extreme if he asked for something like that anyway. I know that I would never ask for those 2 things. The 2 things I want really are just 2 things I want to become, and they are I want to become a Jounin sensei for Kushina Uzumaki in Konoha, and to become a Whirlpool ninja here once I come back, Naruto asked, knowing the 2 things he wanted were not too difficult to give him. Why would you want to become a Jounin sensei for my daughter Kushina? I can easily make you a ninja here, so consider that done already, they replied. Naruto pointed to his eyes, trying to give a hint to the cage, which worked. I want to help train her in using the Kyuubi. The reason I know that she has these with these eyes, and the amount of chakra I have makes it so that I can sense each tailed beast and their relative location, just not exact, Naruto replied. They nodded in understanding and decided to give him both things. They're both easy to do. All I have to do is send a message to Konoha telling them that you will be my daughter's Jounin sensei, and you can also be a ninja on your return to this village, they said. Naruto bowed slightly to show his respect to the leader. He got up out of the chair once they finished talking. See you, Naruto, make sure to take care of my little girl when you go on missions, they said, releasing some color intent to get his point across. It did not really faze him though, as he just shrugged it off, walking to the door. Will do, Naruto replied, as he closed the office door behind him. Once outside the tower he sighed in relief. The meeting had gone well, and now he could get to know Kushina this time, and even get to teach her something. I hope this goes well. I will have to set a powerful over my eyes to make sure no one recognizes my Rinnegan, Naruto thought. He noticed it was much brighter as he walked down the main street of Whirlpool. The civilians were more lively now, as they started to open up shops. Ninja were also more frequent now, but none bothered him, which he did not know why, because they should not have had enough time to speak with every ninja about him yet. He saw the gate coming up. Before long he walked through the gate out onto the water. Naruto took one last glance towards the village for reasons he only knew. I can't wait to return to this village to become a Whirlpool ninja, but I have other things to do first, so that has to wait for a bit, Naruto thought. He vanished from sight once he pushed the thought in the back of his mind. Around 1 day later he appeared in the forest just outside Konoha, right in the middle of a bandit camp, which surprised him. The bandits surrounded him all with knives poised to strike him down, which made him laugh because he knew these lowlifes could not defeat them. Hand over all your valuables and money, maybe then we will let you live, a random bandit said from the group of 25 or so of them. Naruto scoffed at them. They were nothing, and he guessed he would have to show them why he was stronger than them. I have to make sure I do this quickly and silently, so that Konoha won't be alerted, Naruto thought, sliding his katana out of his cloak. The bandits did not see the draw, as about half of them dropped dead the following second. The remaining 12 bandits looked at him in fright, but he did not care how they felt. The battle continued, if you could even call it that, as he tore them apart. The ground was drenched in blood, and still more spilled onto the ground by the last bandit, as he fell over dead, missing an arm which laid on the ground about 10 feet away from the rest of the body. Body parts were all over the place. He made sure they did not utter a sound. They fell quickly, making him sigh in relief, as he slid his katana back into his cloak, once he cleaned it off on one of the bandits' shirts. Bandits should learn not to attack ninja, or at least know when the other person they were attacking was a ninja, Naruto thought. He looked around the dense forest he was in, making sure no one spotted him. Naruto went through hand signs, as a powerful enshrouded his Rinnegan eyes. His eyes were now his old eye color of dark blue, because he did not want to bring attention to himself in the village. He knew he looked suspicious with the black cloak. I guess I have no choice but to seal it away for now, because I might be taken for an enemy, Naruto thought. He pulled out a sealing scroll, sealing his cloak inside. He put the scroll away, and headed towards Konoha's gates. Naruto arrived in front of the gate, casually making it look like he was nothing special. When he passed the gate, however, 2 ninja appeared in his path. He was thinking how bad his luck must be to be caught so quickly just after he had entered the village, but he noticed they were just standing there, not attacking him. The Kaguya-sama has been expecting you to please come with us, the right said in a monotone voice. They walked in front of Naruto, as they led him to the tower. The reason they walked was because Naruto had wanted to walk. They had to stay with him for security reasons for now, which pissed him off because he walked slowly. The village looks really peaceful. It should stay like this. All the little academy kids are probably in class at this very moment, which means I won't be able to see Kushina or any one of them right now, Naruto thought, as they made it to the tower. It had taken them around 40 minutes to get to the tower, not because the tower was far, no, it was because Naruto took his time looking at every little detail of the place. They were furious, but they would not show it. They were too prideful to break down in anger while still in their uniform. They walked up the tower stairs to the office. Once they reached the top of the stairs, they walked over to the Hokage's office door. They knocked while Naruto stood there with a grin on his face. Once they were allowed entrance into the office, they opened the door leading him into the office. I guess my career as a Jounin sensei starts now, Naruto thought, as the office door closed behind him. They stared at him with calculating eyes, but no hostility in them. Please have a seat, Naruto. I got the message from Whirlpool. We need to discuss how strong you are. We also need to talk about Kushina and her teammates that you will be teaching, they explained. He nodded, as he took a seat in front of the Hokage's desk. Naruto knew this was a long day because he spotted another in the seat next to him. It was probably the original Jounin sensei assigned to Kushina and her team. Damn, this is going to get complicated, Naruto thought. It was a bright and shiny day in Konoha. The birds were chirping, and the academy's students were sitting in class bored. They were being told to meet in the class the following day to find out who their teammates and sensei would be. When Uzumaki Kushina was really giddy to begin her career as a ninja because she had been waiting so long. I finally get to be a ninja, Kushina thought. All the academy students were excited at finally being out of that boring old class to the life of a ninja, which some thought that being a ninja would be easy, and this is the same mindset that would result in their team or being killed themselves. When Uzumaki Naruto didn't know any of this because he had been in a meeting with them for the past 3 hours. He had been answering the Hokage's questions over the 3-hour time period. Over time, however, the answers that they received from him got more vague by the minute, which made them very irritated. After a couple more minutes of the discussion, Naruto started to drift off in his thoughts, missing the last question they needed an answer for. This is so boring. I would rather be staring up at the clouds like Shikamaru used to right now, than listening to any more of the Hokage's words, Naruto thought. He had been asked if he had a place to live or why he wanted Kushina's team specifically. He gave the honest answers each time. After the first couple of questions, they started to get on his nerves. The reason it did was because did they really expect him to spill everything to him? I have a lot of secrets which will be taken with me to the grave, never to be revealed unless I get a wife, but even then some secrets still would not come out, Naruto thought. He did not notice there the sitting next to him anymore, only the many thoughts that drifted around in his mind. Unfortunately, his train of thought ends there because they had raised his voice to make sure he had heard him. Why do you want to train Kushina's team so badly, and what are you going to be teaching your Genin team? Sandaime Hokage asked. They looked directly into Naruto's eyes, wanting an answer, because Naruto would not be leaving here unless he got one. The reason I want to train them so badly is my own, but I have no ill will towards them at all. I am going to teach them all the basics, then going from there I will teach them the most advanced things of being a ninja, along with teaching Kushina how to use the fox's chakra without damage to the body, Naruto replied. The Sandaime began to write on a piece of paper. I could not tell what type of paper it was, but once he finished he handed the paper over. I wonder what this is, as Naruto thought. The piece of paper had 3 names on it, but he did not know what this paper was for. He spotted Uzumaki Kushina's name on the paper. The other names on the paper were Nawaki Senju and Shisui Uchiha. All three were from major clans of the Leaf Village. There is no way that they would set these three up because their clans fought way too much. I finally have a chance to help Tsunade save her brother and maybe her boyfriend. I have a chance to make this team strong, so I will train them into the ground until everything I have taught them is drilled in their heads, never coming out, Naruto thought. The possibilities for how strong the team could grow was endless, and nothing would stop him from teaching them now. Naruto looked at for confirmation on his choice of this team for him, which got him a nod from the Sandaime. This team looks like it is going to be a handful, but I wouldn't make an assumption just because they might actually work together, Naruto thought. His training would be torture on them, so they better not act up, or they will receive his torture training full force. His train of thoughts were cut off once again, as a key was chucked at him. The key looked brand new, and the copper did not even look smudged yet. That key is for your new apartment, the place is already set up so you do not have to worry about that at all. Also, the Academy Genin teams will be given to their respective Jounin Sensei tomorrow around 8, so make sure you are there to pick up your team, the Sandaime said. I am never going to be late in my life, Naruto thought, as he remembered Kakashi from his time was completely lazy. Maybe he could change the pervert's pretense in Kakashi before it could spread out of control. The meeting went on, nothing much worth mentioning in it for the rest of the time. Finally, after 4 long hours of continued talking, Naruto was able to leave the tower. By this time though, it had already begun to get dark, but not too bad, only a little. That took too freaking long. I am never going to do that again, Naruto thought in dismay. That night he did not go to the hotel to sleep, but instead chose to stay up all night in Training Ground 7, because even a god can still get stronger. Many people passed the training ground before it got too dark to see. Most had thought nothing of it, but some thought the person must be crazy training so hard in the middle of the night. As the night passed, the training ground got destroyed, and when I mean destroyed I mean it. The training ground looked like it went through the Second Ninja War before the war even started. The sun had come up, showing the training ground in its awful showing. Naruto stood in the center of the training, noticing all the cut down trees, and the trees that were uprooted from his Rinnegan techniques. There were also marks from all the elements spread out through the clearing. Some places looked burned, some places looked shredded as well. His techniques were a deadly thing, and they needed to be treated with caution. I guess I should have held back more because I did not want to end up destroying a whole training ground overnight, Naruto thought. He had mostly used that night so he could improve on a once weakness, but no, since he started training in it the most, it had become his ultimate trump card when in a crunch not able to get out. He looked towards the sun to see what time it was, as he slid his katana into the holster on his back. The around him faded, revealing that for most of the night he plastered on, and a triple layered one no less. I guess it is time to pick up my team now, Naruto thought. A moment later he vanished into thin air like he was never in Training Ground 7. The next moment he appeared outside the room numbered 14. I think I will mess with them a bit for fun before I take them, as a team, Naruto thought, smirking. The clone appeared next to him, as it transformed into a fat guy easily weighing around 500 pounds. Naruto took a step back, and let the fat old man through the door. He was able to open it, but got caught halfway through the door. The fat old guy's eyed and head turned towards his team. Team 5 looked disgusted at how fat the guy was, but no one made him move. Hey old man, are you stuck or what? Kushina asked, chuckling. Yeah, I am. I could use a little help here because if I can't get out of this doorway, then you won't get any training from me since I am your sensei, the fat old guy clone announced. This shocked them beyond belief because this old fat guy had just said that he was their sensei. No way, how are you going to keep up with us, you old man? Iwaki shouted, as he pointed a finger at the man who was still stuck and showed no signs of coming loose anytime soon. Shisui just sat there with a sweat drop on his forehead from finding out who their sensei was. I am your sensei, you little shithead, so get me out of here, or you all will be stuck in this class for another whole year, maybe more, the fat old guy clone announced. This scared them because they did not want to be an academy student any longer, but an actual ninja. They all got up to help him after that comment was made. What they did not know is if they had looked at the back row, they would have spotted Naruto grinning like crazy. I'm going to enjoy this, Naruto thought. After about 2 hours of trying to get the old man out of the doorway, they sank to the floor in defeat because they had tried everything from pushing the guy out to buttering him up to see if he would slide out. Nothing worked. All three looked exhausted, so Naruto knew they had enough even if they would hate him for life now, but it did not matter, he still had the pictures of them trying to butter the guy up. Naruto made a hand sign watching, as his clone in the doorway vanished in a puff of smoke before the Genin's eyes. They could not believe that it was a clone the whole time. Whoever played a prank on me like this is going to get a, Kushina growled out. She wanted to tear the person who did this apart for embarrassing her this bad. They turned looking at the back row of the classroom when clapping resounded through the room. Naruto walked down the aisle making his way to them all the while still clapping. I like the show you guys put on, it was definitely original, I can say that much, Naruto said. He chuckled at the two angry faces of Kushina and Iwaki. Shisui's face looked perfectly composed, but if you looked closer you could see a tick mark above his eyes showing his mood. Why are you guys so mad? I only used a cage bunshin to henge into an old fat man, but you decided to help him, so it isn't all my fault, he told them. It only made it worse, as Nawaki charged him in anger. Naruto grabbed the fist before he lifted the boy off the ground by his fist alone, before throwing his headlong straight into Kushina. When Nawaki collided with Kushina, they both toppled backwards, not expecting something like that to happen. That's no way to treat your sensei now, is it? Naruto asked them. Their eyes widened because this guy in front of them that only looked about 18 was proclaiming himself as their sensei. How is that possible when you only look about 18 yourself, which isn't much older than us, Nawaki proclaimed, making sure to get his point across. Kushina thought the same thing as Nawaki, but Shisui had a completely different thought altogether. If he is indeed our sensei, then he must be really strong to become a jounin instructor, so young Shisui thought. He knew that appearance and age never mattered as a ninja, because you could be any age and be just as powerful as long as you train each day to its fullest. Age doesn't matter when you're a ninja, and I am your instructor, so get used to it. Meet me at Training Ground 5 in 20 minutes from now, or you will be sent through the academy once again. That's not fair, you can't do that, right, Shisui, Nawaki shouted as he looked to his right, but Shisui was nowhere in sight. He headed to the training ground when I first had mentioned what you needed to do, but now you only got 15 minutes to get to the training ground, so you better hurry, Naruto said, grinning. He watched as Kushina and Nawaki ran out of the classroom as fast as they could, because they did not want to take any chances just in case he could really send them back to the academy. I like messing with people's minds, it keeps me busy, Naruto thought, vanishing with no trace from the classroom as he appeared in Training Ground 5. He had around 7 minutes to kill until Shisui got there, then probably another 5 minutes until Kushina and Nawaki showed up. The 8 minutes until Shisui would get there were used for Naruto to get some of his thoughts straight, because he did not know what to teach Kushina or when to start to teach her in using the Kyuubi's chakra. The other two on the team have the potential to be great ninjas too, just like Kushina. They would all have longer lives now because of him. He would make sure Nawaki would not die in the second ninja war that was on the horizon. He also would not let Shisui die to give himself up for the will of fire. Kushina would also live past the day he was born, as well. He will make a definite fact that nothing happens to any of them. I will bring about peace to this corrupted world, starting from the smallest things, as they start to build, becoming something great, Naruto thought. He had been leaning against a tree for the time being. Naruto waited for about 8 minutes, and just as he predicted, Shisui appeared in the training ground. Shisui, just wait for your teammates to arrive, and then I will explain a couple things to you guys, Naruto said. Shisui did not look surprised that his teammates were not there yet. It was probably because he knew them pretty well. After another 5 minutes, Kushina and Nawaki ran into the training ground. Nawaki looked extremely tired, and Kushina looked like she never ran at all. The stamina you get for housing the Kyuubi is amazing, Naruto thought, as he looked between all three of them, but his gaze lingered on Kushina, which she caught, but it did not matter because she could not make out what the look meant. We will all introduce ourselves one after the other. I will go first to show you how it is done. My name is Naruto Uai, and my hobbies are training and creating new. My dislikes are war and poverty, while my goal is to bring about peace to the shinobi nations, Naruto explained. And next, my name is Nawaki Senju. My likes include my older sister Tsunade Ni-chan, and training to be the best. I don't have many dislikes besides people who down me or make fun of me because of my goal is to be, Nawaki shouted out at the end. Kushina did not go right away, which made Naruto wonder why, but it was quickly dashed. My name is Kushina Uzumaki. My likes are Whirlpool Village, also the people in it, but I like training as well, because I want to become the first female. I dislike anyone who makes fun of my hair and my face. If you do, I will kick your ass, Kushina says, pointing to Naruto. His eyes widened from the implication of what was said. Why would I make fun of your hair face? Your red hair looks beautiful adorning your face. If people make fun of you, then they're just jealous, so ignore them, Naruto said. Kushina could not believe her ears. Someone actually called her beautiful hair. The big red blush appeared on her face as she looked right into Naruto's eyes, but she quickly got a hold of herself, pushing the blush away before he had seen her. Get a hold of yourself, Kushina. He only called your hair and face beautiful, Kushina thought, as another blush found its way onto her face. She did not know what was wrong because this feeling felt new to her, but she also knew that she should not tell anyone about it yet either. Naruto motioned for Shisui to go, ignoring the blushing Kushina. My name is Shisui Uchiha. My hobbies are training, and my friend Itachi, who is my only friend from the clan. I dislike the clan's ways of copying everything while not gaining it from hard work. My goal for the future is to shape and fix the way of the Uchiha clan, Shisui announced. Naruto was glad he had an inspiring team of genin who were aiming high because he would help them achieve their goals, because it is the sensei's job to see it out. Meet here tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock for your genin exam, and don't eat, you'll throw it up, John and Naruto stated, vanishing without a trace. The genin had many things to think about, and they knew they would not stop till they were done. The genin left the training ground with a new vigor to beat Naruto tomorrow during the exam. You guys will go far, Naruto thought. Appearing in the same place he had left not even a moment ago, he slid out his katana, as he began training throughout the night once again. The next morning Naruto was in the training waiting for his team to appear. That's what it seemed anyway, but actually he sent shadow clones throughout the training ground to set up traps and jutsu seals. They better get here soon or I will rethink giving them the test, because if they cannot even be on time, then they don't deserve to even be ninja, Naruto thought. He looked at the sun's position, noticing Team 5 only had about 3 minutes left. He vanished from his spot without a trace, as a kunai whizzed by the spot he had been in. They're here, but it looks like they started the test already. This is going to be fun, Naruto thought. He looked down in the clearing, seeing Nawaki. The rest of the team were nowhere in sight, but he sensed them at 2 different positions, waiting for Nawaki to get attacked. At least they're smart, but not really, because I never told them what type of test yet, Naruto thought, sighing. He was just going to tell them during the fight, he guessed. Before Kushina or Shisui, who were hiding in the shadows of 2 trees, could blink, Nawaki fell face down into the ground. The hit looked hard enough to leave an imprint of his face in the ground, most likely. Naruto appeared above Nawaki with the kunai poised to kill him. He stood there though not attacking. He was waiting to see what the rest of the team would come up with to save their teammate. The test is simple, all you have to do is land 2 hits consecutive on me to become Genin, Naruto shouted loud enough for them to hear him. The next thing he knew, 20 kunai flew at him from the position where Kushina was located. His sight caught explosive notes on at least half of them. If you like throwing explosives, you better be prepared to dodge them, as well, Naruto said, as his arms lifted up, palms facing the incoming kunai. Shino Tensei, Naruto shouted. The kunai stopped in mid-air for a split second before turning directions, impacting trees around Kushina position. The second before they went off, Kushina lunged out of the tree line, as the explosive tags went off, sending her skidding across the ground, just barely making it from the explosion. What the hell was that, Nawaki thought. His face was still implanted in the ground because Naruto kept him from getting up. He tried to get up many times, but the pressure that held him down felt like a ton of weights. What was that jutsu? I never heard of something that could deflect incoming projectiles like that, Shisui thought, studying the fight before him. His job was to wait for an opening to attack their sensei, and since they only needed 2 hits on him, it would be easy. Well, that's what he thought anyway. My 10 clones are still in the forest, so Shisui better watch out, Naruto thought, chuckling. He did not have time to think though, as Kushina charged him with a kunai in hand. As she reached him, however, 2 hands shot out of the ground, pulling her under with only her head left out. Damn it, let me out of here, Kushina shouted. She was not able to move her at all. The ground had her locked in place. The only way for her to get out was for either Shisui or Nawaki to save her. Nah, I think you look better like this, Naruto replied, lightly laughing. This only made her more pissed, however, as a string of curses sounded from her mouth. You're not getting out anytime soon with that mouth, Naruto said. He lifted his leg back before swinging it forward, kicking the downed Nawaki in the ribs, lifting him up, sending him clear across the training ground. Before Nawaki impacted the ground, however, Shisui appeared, catching him in midair, placing him upright next to him. They began to devise another plan of attack, but they knew they needed to save Kushina first. In the field, you have to come up with a plan on the spot. What you're doing is leaving you wide open for an attack. You're standing right there, so we don't need to worry, Nawaki stated cockily. Naruto just stared at them for a moment to decide whether or not to tell them or not. I would look around you because you are surrounded, Naruto said, smiling deviously. Nawaki and Shisui looked around them, but spotted nothing until a shimmer appeared around them. Naruto had let his genjutsu he had put around them slip a bit so they could see it. Kai, Shisui said, dispelling the genjutsu around him and Nawaki. After it was dispelled, they realized Naruto had told them the truth. They really were surrounded for all sides. 6 Naruto clones had locked them in a circle. They were able to dispel all the clones a minute later because Naruto was holding back. He did not want to kill them after all. What kind of sensei would he be? Good work, but you missed too, Naruto said. Shisui and Nawaki looked confused for a moment before they tried to turn around quick enough to destroy the clones that had come out of the ground behind them. You guys better move, Naruto shouted as warning. The 2 clones began going through hand seals before they held the last one. Bunshin Daibaku had the 2 clones shouted, making the 2 genins' eyes whiting as they jump away from the blast, but the blast hit them while they were in midair, sending them straight into the tree line, vanishing out of sight. Kushina could not believe her eyes. Her 2 teammates might be dead because of their sensei. I guess I should have held back a little more. Oh well, too later for the now, but they should have survived that. If they didn't, then they are not good enough to be a ninja, Naruto said. Kushina looked away from the tree line where her 2 teammates were sent flying, maybe not even alive anymore. You're crazy if they're not alive. I am going to pummel you till next week, Kushina shouted. It looked kind of funny with no body, just a head that shouted threats that could not be carried out. Ah, Kushina-chan, are you scared? Naruto said, teasing her. He pulled out a kunai, putting the blade against her neck just enough for it to bleed a little, but not enough to do a lot of damage. Kushina gulped in fear as she stared up at her sensei, believing she was about to die. Naruto pulled back, seeing the scared look on her face, chuckling lightly. Don't worry, I won't kill you, Kushina-chan, Naruto said. Naruto began laughing again at the look she gave him. Teasing was so much fun, but what he did not know was due to his actions. Kushina began to gain a crush on him, but she did not know this yet, because she thought she was only embarrassed at the moment. "Stop teasing me, we are going to pass this test, and when we do I'm going to kick your ass," Kushina said with a light blush adorning her face. Naruto ignored the last thing he said, as he entered the forest where Nawaki and Shisui had gone. Once Naruto entered the forest he turned around and waited in the shadow of a tree, knowing that Shisui and Nawaki were going to try and rescue Kushina first before coming after him. He was right, as Nawaki entered the clearing, but no Shisui, but he sensed him not far off, probably making sure they got away safely. "I hope they like the little present I left," Naruto thought. He had placed a seal near where Kushina was without her knowing. Due to his teasing, she never saw anything. Just as Kushina was lifted out of the ground, a seal appeared on the ground lighting up. Shisui did not know what it was, and neither did Kushina because she did not receive her advanced seal training yet. All questions though were answered, as the ground shifted a bit before the whole ground around them became one giant sand pit. "Let's see how they get out of this," Naruto though chuckling. Kushina and Shisui started sinking into the pit, no way to get out. He began observing the show. "Damn it, we are stuck, but another thing, how does he know seals so well? Is he an Uzumaki?" Nawaki asked Kushina, as they struggled to get out of the sand pit before they sank. "It isn't possible, Uzumakis have red hair, but that doesn't matter right now, we have to get out of this first," Kushina shouted. She was becoming irritated by all the traps their sensei laid out for them. Could he not just face them head on? It would be better to get their asses whooped straight forward than being caught by traps which were embarrassing to be caught in, especially one right after another. Right when Kushina shouted about getting out, a rope dangled down into the sand pit in front of her. "Grab a hold," Shisui said from up above on solid ground. Kushina was the first one up, but when Shisui tried to bring up Nawaki, a kunai cut the rope he held, sending Nawaki back into the bottom of the sand pit. "Looks like sensei won't let us all regroup," Shisui said. Nawaki was at the bottom of the sand pit, letting some curses go because his butt now hurt from the impact with the hard sand at the bottom. Naruto appeared in the sand pit right behind Nawaki, giving him a chop to the back of the neck, knocking him out instantly. Both Kushina and Shisui eyes widened when Naruto disappeared with Nawaki, leaving no traces of chakra behind. The sand pit closed up like it was never there to begin with. Naruto appeared back on solid ground 20 feet away, as he laid the knocked out Nawaki on the ground. "You two got 1 hour to save your teammate. If you don't save him by then he will die before your very eyes," Naruto said, as not a second later the whole clearing was filled with clones. "I will be waiting for the two of you in the direction," Naruto explained, pointing towards the east side of the training, which are the biggest trees. The reason he set this up was to see if they could detect his traps laid out in the forest before they reached him. Naruto lifted Nawaki back up, vanishing into thin air once again. All the clones charged the two genin. They both got into Taijutsu stances, preparing for the onslaught of clones. The battle between TWP genin and 100 clones commenced. It was a spectacular battle that lasted about 30 minutes, which only left about another 30 minutes left to save Nawaki. They were both physically and mentally exhausted. "I'm tired, I don't believe we can win this fight in the state we are in," Shisui stated, leaning on his knees for support, almost completely exhausted from the bout they were in. Their clothes looked horrible, as well, there were holes all through them, being because some of the clones had exploded. Kushina did not look or feel much better than Shisui, but she would never give up because Nawaki would be counting on them to save him, so she would not go down without a fight. "I don't care if we have a 0 chance of winning, I am still going to try because I want to kick his ass so bad," Kushina said, growling at the end, remembering the teasing he had done. She wanted her revenge. It might not come right away, but she would have it sooner or later. "I guess you're right, let's show sensei his boss," Shisui said. They both looked towards the forest where their sensei would be. After they got a good look, they both entered the forest from 2 different angles just in case if there were any traps laid out for them. Too bad this would not save them. Different trees around them began to glow before pink and yellow pellet-sized shells came at them, some missing, but they began to come faster at them. The pellets began to impact them all over, leaving bruises, as well as giving them a new look. Naruto was waiting up in a tree branch further in the forest. There were traps laid out all around him, that's mostly why he stayed stuck still in his spot. "I wonder when they are going to get here. It's been 50 minutes already, but I felt some of my seals activate, so they should be getting closer by now," Naruto thought. When he finished that train of thought, 10 kunai came at him from the left and from the right. That trick did not work the first time, so it will not work now, Naruto stated, as he brought his palms up in both directions. "Shino Tensei," Naruto shouted, as the kunai with explosive notes were sent soaring back the way they came. Naruto heard 2 thuds land on the forest floor a second before the forest lit up in flames from the explosion. Naruto jumped back to a further branch, dragging along Nawaki by his shirt. Kushina and Shisui now stood on the branch he once stood on, staring at him with hate-filled glares. "I hate you, sensei. Do you know how long it's going to take to get this paint out of my skin and hair?" Kushina seethed. She did not really look threatening when she was painted both blue and pink. "Why would you want to take the paint out? It makes you look more exotic," haha, Naruto replied. His response only made Kushina madder, making Kushina and Shisui jump forward at him, intent to take him out. Kushina aimed to fight their sensei, while Shisui grabbed Nawaki. Naruto jumped away before Kushina made contact with him. Due to this, Shisui was able to retrieve Nawaki. "We win, sensei," Kushina shouted, pumping her fist in the air. Naruto only gained a wide smirk on his face, which made Kushina and Shisui look on in confusion. "I would look again," Naruto said, as Nawaki appeared in his arms. Kushina and Shisui eyes widened as they looked down to see the body Shisui was holding glowed white. "Crap, it's a trap," Shisui shouted, chucking the body out of the tree, but due to the close proximity, the explosion that followed hit them worse than the others, knocking them out with first and a couple second-degree burns. Naruto approached their down form, sweat dropping. "Maybe I went way too hard on them. Oh well, they will be fine in a day or so," Naruto thought. He hoisted all three over his shoulder as he vanished, leaving not traces. When he had appeared in the hospital, there was quite a ruckus, as doctors and nurses were rushing to take them into a room to get checked over. One nurse did not leave though. It was Tsunade, and she did not look very happy. Naruto gulped in fear because in his time Tsunade had been dangerous, but in this time she was in her prime right now, which made her abnormal strength skyrocket. "What happened to get them that hurt? And you better have a good explanation or you won't see tomorrow," Tsunade stated, balling her fists. Lucky or not, the Sandaime strolled into the hospital after being told 3 genin had been brought in. The reason he did not know yet. When he spotted Naruto, he believed since he was their sensei he should know what happened to them. "What happened to them, Naruto?" the Sandaime asked calmly. He knew he could not get away without telling them now. He sighed in dismay, hoping that Tsunade would not completely flip on him. "They got that way from my test I set up for them to become official genin," Naruto said. This shocked both Tsunade and the Sandaime, which the shock did not stay on Tsunade's because she decided Naruto needed a beating. She began to walk forward to pummel him into tomorrow. Naruto just stood there ready to take her anger full force, even though he knew he could easily get away if he wanted to. However, before Tsunade could reach Naruto, the Sandaime stopped her in her tracks. "You should not have been so rough on them. They are only genin after all. Did they pass the test or fail?" Sandaime asked. He was curious to know the answer because they looked pretty beat up. It would be a total letdown for them if they didn't pass. "Yeah, they passed with flying colors," literally, Naruto said, chuckling. He vanished, leaving no trace, as Tsunade's fist passed through the spot he had been standing. The Sandaime's eyes widened, not thinking that Naruto would have got away from that hit. "Looks like he is hiding many secrets," the Sandaime said, chuckling. Tsunade did not like this comment, and since she was still mad at Naruto, she turned full force, punching a hole in the wall that later she would have to pay for to relieve her anger. The Sandaime quickly left the scene once Tsunade did that, because he did not want to receive the force behind her punch. The next morning came quickly for Naruto because he had been lost in thought while training. He did get some sleep, but only about 5 hours before he got up to train. To him, the nighttime was the best time to train. He appeared in the hospital room that had his damaged Team 5 in it. He saw the looks he was receiving from Kushina, Nawaki, and Shisui, but he did not let it bother him, so he let a grin stretch across his face. "Congratulations, you guys passed," Naruto shouted. Team 5 just continued to stare at him, still not looking too happy about what happened. Kushina threw a kunai at him, as it whizzed by his face, but he did not move an inch. "Oh, come on guys, can't you take a joke?" Naruto said, lightly laughing. Team 5 was now officially a team, even though they did not like him much for the torture he made them go through, but they will have to deal with it. He guessed that the team will work out, and that tomorrow would be another day. "You have a crush on Sensei?" Nawaki laughed, as the team was walking to training ground 5 the day after they were released from the hospital. Naruto had told them to meet there at 8 o'clock. Some of the pain could still be seen in Kushina's hair, but it was slowly going away due to her mulling her hair with shampoo and steaming hot water the night before. "You're not. Why would I have a crush on some crazy guy who almost killed us?" Kushina exclaimed. She turned her head away from them, acting like she was pouting, but in reality she had a big blush sprayed across her face, not wanting them to see it, but unlucky for her they did see it, and they would not let it go. "Don't like Kushina, you like how strong he is, and the teasing because it is written all over your face," Nawaki laughed out. Nawaki missed the angry look that passed her face, but before long he found out, as a fist slammed into his face, sending him into the window of his store across the street. All they heard was cursing from the shop owner, before they booked it out of there before they had to pay anything, leaving Nawaki to his fate. "That was a little harsh, don't you think, Kushina? He was only messing with you after all," Shisui explained. They were now walking to the training ground again, slowing down when they were out of sight from the shop. Kushina turned her head towards Shisui, giving him a big old grin. "I wasn't harsh, I even held back so he should recover in no time," Kushina replied. Right when she finished that statement, Nawaki appeared next to the two of them with a new bruise added to his cheek courtesy of Kushina's fist. Kushina just laughed at the look Nawaki gave her, adding to the fact the bruise had her fingers outlined made it even funnier. "It's not funny, Kushina, I have to pay for that damn window now," Nawaki shouted. Kushina ignored the shouting, and just stared ahead of her, getting lost in her thoughts, but before long she was broken out of her thoughts by someone shaking her shoulder. She looked to see who it was, noticing that it was Shisui. "We are here, Kushina. I thought I should let you know since you looked out of it at the moment," Shisui said. Kushina nodded, as she looked around the clearing, clearly not seeing their sensei anywhere in it. She saw Nawaki scowling out of the corner of her eye. "Where the hell is he? He told us never to be late, but here he is 5 minutes late himself," Nawaki shouted. He was looking around at the trees thinking that their sensei must be here already, and they were just being tested again. Kushina and Shisui ignored him, as Shisui went and sat down in the shade beneath the large tree to relax until their sensei got there. Kushina was about to go relax, as well before she felt a hand land on her shoulder. "You guys got to pay more attention to your surroundings," Naruto whispered in her ear. She jumped forward squealing, gaining a crimson blush across her face. Naruto started chuckling when Kushina squealed because it was just hilarious not to. Shisui had quickly jumped up to his feet when Kushina had squealed while Nawaki was rolling around on the grass, laughing his ass off. "Why the hell did you sneak up on me, stupid sensei?" Kushina shouted. She was completely embarrassed with what happened. She could not make eye contact with any of them. Naruto walked up to her, putting his hand on her shoulder once again, making Kushina look up at him in the eyes. "Calm down, Kushina, it was only a test. I wanted to see if you guys would detect me, but I guess you didn't, so after we get our first mission today completed, I am going to set up a trap detecting test to make sure you guys are ready for anything," Naruto explained. As he said this, though, his eyes kept looking towards Nawaki, because he needed to learn this test the most if he was going to have any chance of survival. He leaned down to Kushina's ear after he explained this, making a small blush appear on her face the closer he had gotten. "The Hokage would like to speak with you after we receive our mission to discuss something important with you," Naruto whispered. Kushina's blush disappeared quickly after that was spoken, nodding to show that she got the message. He pulled back away from Kushina once he told her what she needed to do. "Okay team, it's time to get our mission," Naruto said. He led them out of the training ground to the Hokage Tower. As they approached the Hokage Tower, Nawaki leaned a little closer to Kushina. "So what did sensei say to you? Was he asking you out on a date?" Nawaki whispered, looking quite serious. Kushina looked at him with an enormous blush on her face, making Nawaki break down in laughter once again. He should have learned his lesson the first time, as he doubled over onto his knees from the pain that shot up from his nuts being kicked in. "Why did you do that?" Nawaki whimpered from his place on the ground, not being able to feel his nuts at the moment. "Damn, that must have hurt. I kind of feel sorry for him, but he might have deserved it," Naruto thought, looking back at his team. "I did it because you were being an idiot," Kushina exclaimed. She did not care what she did to him, as long as he stopped messing with her. Shisui stayed a little bit away from her once her foot connected to Nawaki's nuts. "I also did it because sensei would never ask me out because he probably takes me as being too young for him anyway," Kushina thought. She peered up at Naruto after the thought, seeing the look he gave them. She blushed in embarrassment because she was holding up the team up from getting their first mission. "I'm sorry sensei for holding us up from our first mission, but I had to do it," Kushina explained. Naruto understood that Nawaki probably had said something to make her so mad, so he forgave her, even though he wasn't mad at her to begin with. "It's okay Kushina-chan, but we got to go get the mission now," Naruto said, smirking. Kushina gained a tick mark on her forehead, but before she could say anything in retaliation, Naruto vanished, leaving no trace of chakra behind. "One of these days I am going to get you back, sensei," Kushina thought, as her anger receded for the most part. Shisui hoisted Nawaki's right arm up onto his left shoulder, so he could help him to the Hokage Tower. Kushina paid no mind to Nawaki though, as they continued their trek to the tower. When they finally reached the tower after a long walk because of the hurt Nawaki, they walked up the stairs, reaching the office. They're not getting the okay to enter, so they entered, closing the door behind them. "What took you guys so long? I have been here for about 15 minutes already," Naruto said. He stood in front of them with a scroll in hand, which they realized must be the mission they were receiving. "What type of mission did we get, sensei?" Shisui asked. They all wanted to know, but Nawaki a little less than them because all he wanted at the moment was a seat. His legs felt like jelly. "We got a border patrol mission that could take anywhere between 3 days to a week, depending on the situation of our replacements, so go home, pack, and meet at the main gate in an hour's time for the mission," Naruto commanded. He watched as Shisui helped Nawaki out of the room while Kushina went to follow. "The Hokage would like to speak to you, remember," Naruto said, stopping Kushina in her tracks. She nodded, turning back around, walking to the Hokage's desk, taking a seat. "Thanks for giving her the message, Naruto, and remember in 2 weeks there will be a Jonin meeting, so make sure you are there," the Sandaime explained. "I know I'll be there," Naruto replied, as he walked out of the office to give Kushina and the Sandaime enough time to talk, so she could go pack for the mission, as well. He had a pretty good idea of what they were going to talk about. It was probably going to be on what happened to the Whirlpool Village, so she was going to be asking him questions which he did not want to answer yet. "I hope she does not ask me about anything until we return from the mission at least, but that might be asking for too much," Naruto thought, chuckling to himself, knowing it to be true. When he was a good distance from the tower, he was abruptly broken out of his thought by a loud yell. "Naruto-sensei, wait up, I need to talk to you about something for a couple minutes," Kushina shouted, closing in on Naruto by the second. Naruto stopped in his tracks, slightly looking back at Kushina, catching a glance of her. "No can do, Kushina. I have to go pick up a few things I want to teach you guys on the mission," John and Naruto replied, as he vanished with no trace when Kushina finally reached him. She caught the grin on his face before he had vanished, which ticked her off. "What the hell, get back here," Kushina shouted, although she knew he would not hear her, so she began to grumble as she continued her path down the road. They badly need to learn detection skills, and trap detection, as well. I mean, she could not detect me on the roof right next to her position, Naruto thought, sweat dropping. He guessed it was to be expected because they were only genin after all, but they should be taught better in the academy to begin with. Maybe he would talk to the Hokage about that when they returned. I better go get the supplies needed to make the traps I have in mind. When they get through my traps, they will be a master of detection if they can do it, Naruto thought, chuckling. He could not wait until that test. He wished he could have them run through it once on the mission, but they would get hurt doing this test, and that would be bad because an enemy could attack through the borders at any moment. They had to be at the top of their game or risk dying, even if there were ninjas stationed all around the perimeter, waiting for us to give a signal of attack if the need arises. Naruto jumped off the building, landing in the street, making his way to the weapons store. Once he got the things he needed from the store, he headed to the gate to await his team. When he got to the gate, he noticed Jiraiya and his team coming back from a mission, he guessed by the look of it. "Hey Jiraiya, are you the ones we are replacing at the border?" Naruto asked. Jiraiya looked at him confused because he did not know who he was, but decided to answer anyway. "Yeah, have fun. There isn't really much happening there, so don't look forward to any action." "By the way, who are you, since you seem to be a new jonin here?" Jiraiya asked. "Yeah, I'm new. The name is Naruto, and I am the sensei of Team 5, Naruto replied. A couple of reactions could be seen from Jiraiya's team after he said this. Minato looked shocked, but the other two on the team looked like they could care less, while Jiraiya looked a little pissed, but not too much. "So you're the one that sent them to the hospital?" Tsunade would not shut up about how bad you hurt her brother, and the other two. "You should not have been that hard on them. I understand you have to be tough since the war is starting to pick up, but try not to send them to the hospital, because then I have to listen to Tsunade rant on forever," Jiraiya said, a little mad, but it was quickly replaced by a sigh, because Tsunade had really drained him that day. "I'll try not to, but no guarantees," Naruto replied. He smirked because of the look Jiraiya sent his way, but he quickly diverted his look to Minato, who stepped up. "Are you the sensei for Kushina's team?" Minato asked. He looked very shy at the moment, so Naruto guessed he already developed a crush on her before she did a couple years from now. Before he answered, however, Jiraiya put a hand on Minato's shoulder, making him turn his head towards his sensei. "Yeah, he's her sensei, but I did not think you would have a crush on a girl already. I am so proud of you," Jiraiya said. Minato blushed in response to what his sensei insinuated. "No, I don't, Jiraiya sensei, she is just a friend," Minato said. No one on his team looked to believe at all of what he said. Jiraiya just smirked because he acted so innocent. Naruto looked on at the interaction, not wanting to stop it, because he wanted to learn a little more about his father of this time. He was broken out of his thoughts when Jiraiya called him. "Make sure you protect your team, and don't let nothing happen to them, or I will never hear the end of it from Tsunade. If something happens, I won't be able to hold Tsunade back from beating you to next week," Jiraiya said, as he stood straighter, looking Naruto right in the eyes. "You don't have to tell me that. The only reason I am tough on them in training is to make sure they are completely ready for what is to come. It is better to be tough on them, giving them the experience of actual combat, without having to die if they fail, unlike in the field where one mistake leads to your death," Naruto replied. Team Jiraiya looked at him curiously because he had stood up to their sensei with no amount of fear shown. "Heh, just make sure you don't kill them yourself then. I think you pose more of a threat to them than other villages do by the amount of damage that they had shown in the hospital," Jiraiya replied, chuckling. He began to lead his team past Naruto, stopping right next to him, as his team kept moving. "Do you think you are strong enough to protect them though? One is the holder of the Kyuubi, the other is an Uchiha, and Iwaki is the brother of Tsunade, meaning lots of strong people might come after your team to get one, maybe all of their powers," Jiraiya said. He saw the smirk spread across Naruto's face halfway through his warning. "You don't have to worry, Jiraiya. I may not look it, but I am strong. I took down an army of around 500 in the middle of the night, protecting Whirlpool from its destruction, so I believe you should worry more about yourself than me," Naruto replied, stepping closer to the gate to wait for his team, as Jiraiya looked at his form, got smacked by what he was just told. The thing is, Naruto did not see his team was already there, and heard every word that was spoken between the two. Jiraiya had picked up on it after the conversation, so he decided to leave not a second later. The reason he did not pick up on them was because he was deep in thought at the moment about all the things that had happened so far the past month or so that he was here. "Why did you save my village, sensei? I am grateful and all, but why did you risk your life to take down an army by yourself without telling anyone from the village?" Kushina asked. Naruto quickly snapped out of his thoughts, slowly turning towards them like he knew they were already there. "That's my secret. Maybe I will tell you another time, but for right now we have a mission that needs to be completed at the moment," Naruto replied with a grin. He saw an angry look appear on Kushina's face from his diversion from her question, while Shisui and Iwaki looked like they did not care. You can tell us on the way, sensei. I mean, there is not much else to do, Shisui said. Naruto sighed in exasperation, but he quickly came up with a plan, pulling out the mission scroll, handing it to him. Team 5 looked at him confused, not knowing why they were given the scroll, but they did not have to wait long for an answer. No, I can't. The reason for this is that I want you guys to find the border place, where we will be setting up by yourselves. I will be waiting there for you guys, so just search for my chakra signature, Naruto said, vanishing without a trace. I hope he actually leaves a chakra signature, or we may have a hard time finding the place, Iwaki said, sighing because it would be a long day. Kushina did not hear him, however, because she was lost in thoughts, thinking that she was going to make their sensei talk no matter what. Iwaki had been right, because from when they left the village, it took around 7 hours before they caught sight of the fortified building coming up on the path they were on. Finally, my feet are killing me, Kushina groaned. They were traveling pretty fast the whole trip, only stopping once for a water break. Once they got to the fortified building, they were told to go to the top to stand guard with their sensei, who had been waiting there for them a little over 6 hours now. What took you guys so long? Do I need to step up your training once we get back to the village? Naruto asked, smiling evilly. Their eyes widened before all three shook their heads, not wanting anything worse than what they already had gotten. We will make sure we are faster next time, Shisui replied. This got a smile out of Naruto because he finally met an Uchiha who wasn't all stuck up about his own power. The training will still be the same for now, just make sure you're faster next time, because if you're even a second late on a battlefield, the rest of your comrades may already be dead, so don't slack off, Naruto said, as he began to look out over the small clearing just before a huge forest that captivated most of the land in the area. Not much happened for 2 days following the patrol around the area and the outlook from the fortified base. Kushina had been bugging him for some answers, but she never got any. This infuriated her, but she would have to deal with it for now. He had told her he would answer some of her questions once they were done with the mission, and back in the village, it calmed her down to a reasonable level. The next morning when he got up, he looked out over the clearing to the luscious forest, but that is not what held his sight. No, it was the orange glittering from the Iowa headbands in the forest that caught the sun's rays that had his attention. He showed no signs that he knew they were there because he wanted to see if his team would spot them before he made his move. There looked to be about 20 of them in the area. Looks like Jiraiya was wrong, some action did find us after all, Naruto thought. His thoughts were cut off, as his team ran up to him with looks that said they knew, making him smile, because they were already improving from his lessons. Sensei, there are Iowa ninja in the forest on the other side of the clearing, Iwaki shouted. They waited for an order to come, but they saw that he was not going to respond. Are we going to attack them now? Kushina asked. All of Team 5 wanted to know because they wanted to test themselves against real opponents for once. Not yet, because you guys won't want to be caught up in the traps I have set up in the field. Once they go off, then we attack, taking out the remainder of the Iowa ninja that survive. Go tell the rest of the ninja here in the fort that, Naruto said. Team 5 nodded in understanding because they knew how advanced his traps were. They headed off to tell the rest of the ninja, but right when they began to announce this to the other ninja, Iowa ninja began to pour out of the woods, making most ninja in the area stiffen, until the whole clearing lit up in a blaze of glory. Then the ground shifted. As wind blades came out of the tree lines, trapping the Iowa ninja in the field, cutting them up from all angles with no way of an escape. After all the elemental traps went off, Naruto walked into the field to inspect the bodies. When he got to the center of the field, where the bodies lied, around 10 Iowa ninja came out of the ground, forming a circle around him. You have no way of escape, one Iowa ninja said, chuckling. The Iowa ninja thought they had him trapped. Oh, how they were wrong about that, and now they must find out the hard way. The Iowa ninja were closing in on him, trapping him in a small space, making him grin with excitement. You think you guys got me trapped? You must be genin to not have noticed this was a trap from the very beginning, Naruto said. The Iowa ninja's eyes widened, but had no time to react, as Naruto glowed white before exploding, taking out all 10 ninja. No one saw this though, as the explosion kicked up dust completely covering the field. There are a couple more left, but nothing special, just a couple weak ones that did not want to join the fray, so you guys take it from here. If I see you guys need help, I will step in, Naruto said, as his genin team shot forward, meeting the remaining 5 Iowa ninja out of the whole attacking force they sent. His team finished them off quickly. Iwaki took out 2 ninja, as did Shisui, making Kushina take out the last one, but to be truthful, the last one was the hardest because he had Chunin level skills. The others only had a genin skill level, but nonetheless Kushina had won in no less than 30 seconds, because the Iowa ninja let his guard down, getting a kunai through his neck, gushing blood before dropping dead in a heap. He looked at his team, Iwaki and Kushina did not look too good because this was their first kill, but Shisui looked fine. The only reason he looked fine was because the Uchiha training method of hiding the emotions was in full swing. Cheer up guys, you needed to kill them. If you didn't, then they would have killed you, or perhaps they would have killed everyone back in Konoha. We, as ninja, have the hard duty of killing for our village, but we must keep it safe. When you became ninja you chose this path of a protector, but protectors kill for the home or precious people, Naruto explained. His team looked at him with shocked expressions on their faces, but they knew he was right, so they quickly got stern faces, as they began to clean up the dead bodies. Know this: my training may be tough, and my training methods may seem extreme, but they are for your own good, because it is better to get everything shoved at you in practice, than in an actual battle with no experience, Naruto said. He left his team to clean up the bodies with the other ninja at the fort, as he made out a message sending it back to the Leaf Village by a messenger hawk. This is disgusting, these bodies are so mangled up, why do we have to do all the cleaning? I may be a woman, but I don't clean stuff like this up, Kushina shouted, as she lifted up an arm that was still bleeding, but no body in sight that it matched to because of the burn marks up the arm, leaving no chance of finding a match for anything. So they piled all the bodies together in the center of the clearing. Kaiten Phoenix Flower Jutsu Shisui shouted, as he lit the bodies on fire, as well as some bodies that were too mangled up to move to the pile, without having to make more of a mess. Finally, we are done, time to relax, Nawaki said. The mental strain put a lot of stress on their shoulders. Naruto appeared in front of them once Nawaki had said that. It's done, Sensei, Shisui said. Naruto looked around at the clearing, noticing the bodies were burning. But you guys can go rest for the whole morning because we head back to the Leaf at noon, Naruto announced. Team 5 nodded, as Nawaki and Shisui left the area, but Kushina stayed behind, still standing in front of Naruto. Why are you still here, Kushina-chan? Do you want to clean up more bodies? Naruto asked, watching a fearful look appear on her face, making him laugh out. It was so fun to mess with them because they were so innocent still, but it was his job to break them out of that innocent stage in their lives. No, Sensei, I wanted to make sure that you were going to tell me a few things about what happened in Whirlpool, because none of them saw the battle, only you who were in it know anything, Kushina said. Yeah, I will tell you about it, but not right now. Once we arrive in the Leaf Village I will explain a couple things, Naruto replied. He walked forward, placing a hand on her shoulder, missing the blush that appeared on her face from the contact. I won't hold any of the information back from you because you deserve to know since it is your home, Naruto said. Kushina leaned forward, wrapping her arms around him, burying her head in his chest. His eyes widened, not expecting anything like this to happen. Thank you, Naruto-sensei, Kushina replied. She had a crimson blush on her face because of the bold act she was doing, but she did not let it get to her. He wrapped his arms around her, as well, not really knowing why, but he felt the need to comfort her. She pulled back from the hug when her blush vanished from her face. You need to clean your hair better, there is still some blue paint left, Naruto said, smirking. He began to take a couple steps back, as Kushina growled at him. You're the one who got the paint in my hair, and you're standing here telling me to clean my hair better. I have been, but your stupid paint won't come out that easy, Kushina shouted, pulling out a couple of kunai, chucking them at him. Maybe I should not have said that, Naruto thought, as one of the kunai whizzed by his head, and another soared by his arm. He vanished a second later without a trace, leaving an angry Kushina still standing in the clearing. You need to calm down, there might be more ninja nearby, random Chunin said, walking up to her. Kushina turned towards him with a look that said, mess with me, you're dead. The Chunin began to sweat heavily. He was having second thoughts about trying to talk to her now. Leave, I have to think of a way to get him back, Kushina growled out. The Chunin left quickly, kicking up dust in his wake. At noon they left the fortified border base, and by night they finally could see the gates of Konoha coming up closer by the second. They had gotten no breaks along the way because Naruto had wanted to make sure they were not attacked again at all on the way back. Kushina had been trying to play pranks on him at the base before they left, and along the way back to Konoha, but she still did not get him back yet, which irritated her to no end. You guys are dismissed, I have a meeting with the Hokage, Naruto commanded, as he vanished with no trace, as they entered the village, leaving them to sign in at the gate. I need to get some sleep, my sister will probably want to have a pretty big party for my birthday tomorrow, and Sensei will probably run us ragged in that test he spoke of, Nawaki said. Kushina and Shisui agreed that Naruto would not go easy on them because he has stated that himself. Don't worry, we will kick his ass for sure tomorrow, Nawaki shouted. They were now walking down the main street of Konoha discussing random things. It was getting late, so all three decided to head home for the night. As they left, Naruto watched perched on a rooftop close by. Even though Naruto watched them, he did not know Kushina's thoughts were on him. Two thoughts plagued her head, but Naruto would not know of them for quite some time. They think it will be easy, then they got another thing coming. If I want to save Nawaki, then the trap test tomorrow will be no easy feat, Naruto thought, as he vanished into the wind without a trace to prepare for the test. Thanks for watching my video, and make sure to check out the author of this fanfic. Link is in the description. See you next time. Till then, sayonara.